You know, this the saying that your parents revert back to kids when they get older. It's on full display in this episode. Hello, everyone. Terrence here with Hollywood Already Did It. If you haven't already, go ahead, like, share, subscribe to the channel, leave a comment, ring that bell below. Anytime we have something, you will be among the first to know. I believe the seventh episode of the morning show, season 4. It's called The Parent Trap, and there's basically two stories. A third one sort of is happening too, where parents are deeply involved in the lives of Alex, Celine, and Corey, all in varying and different degrees of ways. Some very heartbreaking ways, and some very like, oh, okay, you got to come out from under your parents' shadow. I will say this is probably the episode that I've liked the least in this season, and not necessarily because there's some great acting in this episode, especially from our secondary characters. I would say Jeremy Irons is doing great. The actress, I don't know her name, the actress that plays Corey's mom is doing fantastic work here. But the most of the story that's happening at UBN kind of gets put on the back end of this episode. And so you have the shortest episode of the season that has the least amount to do what's kind of happening in the UBN world. We just take a moment to have like personal relationships, which is fine. I don't mind them doing that from time to time, but we're in the end game of the season now. And so I kind of need more of the story beats to kind of start wrapping up or coming to a conclusion or coming to a head. All that said, the episode picks up right after the aftermath of Bradley turning Claire into the feds. She shows up at Alex's place, and Alex is like, "What the hell did you do? Like, you just gave up your source to the feds at the morning show. Like, there's already enough stink on that UBN building as it is between stuff that's going on with Stella and Celine and Miles, between all the many things that have occurred in that office as far as the sexual allegations, all that good stuff. Then you have the feds walk into UBN and raid the morning show. Thanks, Bradley. Appreciate you. Especially at this time, because Alex is doing everything humanly possible to secure an interview with the president, who at this time in this era of the show is President Biden. And she's trying to like lock that in. And everything that happens outside of that is throwing stink on the morning show and the UBN, and it's making this interview harder and harder to get. Oh, it's going to get harder for you, Alex. Bradley says she didn't really have a choice. It's like she's on a tightrope with the feds. She's been on a tightrope with the feds for the last 2 years. To which Alex is like, you didn't let me know. Like, you think we would have hired you back or brought you back in had you sort of given us that heads up? That would have been appreciative. At that time, Alex is like, cool, I hope you're here just to give me a resignation because I will gladly accept it and sign it and get you out of my hair. And Bradley's like, no, I'm here because I want to carry on with the story. Like, we found the whistleblower for Wolf River. She's in Belarus. I kind of want to get there to go talk to her, to have that conversation. And Alex is like, you think any source is going to trust you now that you just threw one of your sources into the feds? It's like, look, I got to try. I got to get over there. But to go there, I need to go under the guise that I'm doing this for the UBN. So I need your signature on this form to say that I'm going on behalf of UBN. And Alex is like, nah, I'm not going to be able to do that. Not now. I got too much stuff going on with this Biden interview that I'm trying to get. I'm not putting my name on that or putting UBN in any more of a situation where they can come in the crosshairs because you don't know what the hell it is you're doing. And she's like, nah, the story's done. Then Bradley takes off. And as we all know, Bradley's going to go do what she wants to do anyway. Be damned if whether she has the things set up in place, which is always what gets Bradley in trouble. Celine's family, by proxy, her parents aren't actually there, but her siblings are there. People a part of her family are there to sort of have a conversation with her to tell her like, hey, you need to come back home. You need to go ahead and dump Miles in this ruse that you have going on to being this head of this news program and come back home. We used this news program solely to hide what we did with the medical stuff, like the chemical stuff. That's why you were put in place. And you succeeded. You got it done. It's not in the air. They don't know about the stuff happening in the background. But we don't have to worry about that anymore. So now that that's done, you can come home. And Celine's like, well, I did that, and then I got this power, and then I got this company, and I'm entrenched here now. I like it. And now I have a way to sort of stand up on my own legs. I have something to do on my own that doesn't sort of involve you guys. I want to stay here. It sucks for her in that she's not seeing that in the background. This is all going to come up and end up with oil on her face, unfortunately. But she is choosing to sort of disassociate herself with her family. Like, look, I know you guys are here. I know why you put me here. But things have changed now, and I kind of want to do this. I want to stick around and do this. Another parent, though, is giving their child the pure hell. Alex's father gets arrested on campus for lewdness and public indecency. He is caught peeing and urinating on the Paul Revere statue at the campus of the reporter who put out the story about his plagiarizing, drunken and intoxicated, and they won't release him to the public unless Alex comes to come get him. And so they call Alex overnight. She goes to go get her dad, and there's just a lot of history between the two of them that they have never settled. It gets settled in this episode. We'll get there, but it there's just a lot that the two of them, and they don't know how to communicate with each other. There's a lot of anger towards one another that has been pent up for so long that they no longer know how to actually let it out. On the other side, Corey gets a call from his mom while he is doing some last minute stuff on his movie set. And Corey's mom, they posited this idea a few episodes ago about her wanting to end her life. She calls him now and is like, look, I don't know what I'm doing anymore. My brain's not working in the way that it used to. I'm doing things. I almost hit a kid. I'm putting eggs in the laundry in the fridge. Like my brain is not what it is, and I want to check out. Like I'm done. I'm done here. So I've got all my affairs in orders. I got stuff here written out for you when it all happens. But just know, I'm going to end my life today, and that I love you. And then she hangs up the phone. And then Corey just starts making a beeline off the set to get to his mom. Look, that is not a call that a kid wants to get from anyone, or specifically their parent, especially if the parent is the only one that you have sort of left. Um, and so, as a person who lost their mom much younger, way young in my life, that is if you got to run like holy hell to get to that person, and you can see that the intensity that Corey needs to get there is impactful. A lot of it too is because Corey has done so much to not be around his mom. He's sort of like, oh, mom will always be there. Mom is always like that North Star, that constant, which we get in the speech later. That constant that I can come back to them. Even when I'm doing chaos and chaos is happening, I know that I can go back to my mom. And so all of a sudden, the idea of losing that, despite however she feels her life is hard. Back at the UBN, Celine is chatting it up with Bro when Alex interrupts. And they have a weird, awkward acknowledgement of each other. And then he takes off, and Celine and Alex have a conversation. Alex is telling her, like, hey, I'm just checking in on you. How are you amidst all of this stuff? And Celine's like, I don't know. I haven't talked to Miles. We're taking time apart from each other. I'm about as good as it can be. And Alex is like, well, keep your head up. I'm here if you need anything. I do have a bit of good news to give you. I'm real close to locking in this Biden interview. And so if I get that, that'll be a huge coup for UBN and us as a whole. And Celine's like, cool. Best of luck to that. And best of luck in dealing with your father, because the video of her dad peeing on the Paul Revere statue is everywhere. It's in the news. It's being leaked everywhere. Her assistant seen it. Celine see it. There's really nobody who has not seen this thing yet. And it's the door on her Biden interview or keeping the bad press away from her being able to get that Biden interview is closing more and more and more. Speaking of her father, when she gets back to her office after talking to Celine, he's there, hanging out, chilling. And he is asking for Alex to do the right thing as a daughter and put her on the air. Like, come do an interview with me, talk to me on the air so I can get my side of the story out. Like, they're trying to paint me as a monger, as a bad person. I plagiarized, and now because that didn't really stick or work or is not true, they're then trying to come up with all this other stuff of saying that I've been lewd in public indecency and I'm a monster and peeing on things. Like, well, you did pee on stuff. And Mike's like, no, I'm not doing that. I can't do that right now. All of her things and why she's saying no to Bradley, why she's saying no to her father, right now is this Biden interview is very important to her. And anything that sort of gets in the way of that, she's like, nah, not, I don't have time for that. I don't have time for that. We're not doing that. So her dad leaves and quickly comes up with a new idea of how to get on the air. Corey makes it to his mom. And he is doing probably in the drive over. You know, you've been in these situations where you're replaying and overplaying what it is that you want to say to your parents to sort of get them off the path that they're on. Like he's been going through this, and he's like, "Yo, you can come stay with me. I can move back in if this is what you want. Do you just need somebody to be around, or you like don't want to be alone anymore? Like, what is it?" And mom is steadfast in her decision. She doesn't want to get to a point where she has to rely on nurses and doctors 24/7. She wants to go out on her own terms. Um, it's happening whether or not Corey wants it to or not. Um, and she gives him the heads up like, hey, it would be preferential if you're not here when the coroner arrives. They're coming in at 9 o'clock, I think is the time, because I don't want any egg to come back on you as if you had something to do with this, because this is the self transitioning is still illegal. And Corey already has enough stuff on her. So she is still thinking as a mom in this moment of a decision to end her life. She's still thinking like, hey, baby, little boy, I don't want you to get in trouble. You shouldn't be here when this goes down. She still has the foresight to do that. And like, parents do that. They are planning, they're pre-planning. They're like, look, I'm not going to be here. Here's this. This is on the table. These are here. And you should be gone when this happens because, baby, I don't want you to get in trouble. That's a mama. Bro on his podcast is doing a little bit of Celine's dirty work. Celine has asked him to sort of put out the message that her company is cleaning up some of the water that exists in Rio for the Olympics. And so he's doing a little bit of an ad, a placement piece of it here in this piece. And then he doubles down on it later. I won't really get into it, but he doubles down later onto it to just make sure that, hey, this is what the family's asked for. Celine's like, I'm going to put this into play. While he's doing his show, though, right, Alex's dad comes stumbling in and is looking at the window through the glass. Bro doesn't really know who he is at this moment, so he goes out to talk to him, and he deduces that it's Alex's dad, and he's like, "Cool, come on in on the show." Because originally he was like, "I can't let you in on the show." The second he finds out it's Alex's dad, he's like, "Oh, well, say less. Come on in," because you can tell that is a man that is very hurt by the way that Alex just dismissed him. So Alex's dad is on the air, talking, chatting, having a good grand old time, putting his foot in his mouth consistently. He's even correcting bro about the use of irregular, or I think that's the word, or some one of those words where it's like that's not a word, and he schools him on his own show. That is happening while Alex is having a meeting with the president's PR team, and they're pretty much like, okay, cool. They've made the parameters of what they want the meeting to be. 12 minutes with a walk and talk. Alex is like, cool, that'll work. They'll reach out to you shortly and see if they can set up something in the next couple of weeks. So Alex is feeling good. She's like, yes, I got the interview. And then she sees the TV, and her dad is on the show with bro. And she storms down to that studio and busts in while they're live and just ends the show, and they go to break. And Alex is like, how could you? Like, how could you be so disrespectful and non-decent towards me and not ask me if my father could be on the show? And he's like, I didn't know your dad needed a permission slip. Also, it is really rich hearing the words decent and respect coming from you. And she's like, not now. And he responds back like, let me get something clear. When a man ghosts a woman, he's considered to be a dick. What is it when a woman does that to a man? And she's like, I don't want to go into this with you right now. Let me get my dad up out of here. And her dad is just like, hey, she has a real trouble spot with men. And like, we need to talk about that sometime. Like, it's completely oblivious to, or don't care about what he is doing to Alex in that moment. I was like, yeah, she has a terrible time with men. And then she takes him off. They get in the car, and there's a bit of a silence there for a moment. And he's trying to make his peace of why he was doing what he was doing. And then Alex gets a call from Biden's PR folks, and they're like, yeah, the meeting's off. And they tell her why. And originally, she's just listening to it on the phone, but then she puts her on speaker, like, "Hey, can you repeat to me why the meeting is canceled?" And it's like, "Yeah, your father is doing the most. Your father's doing a lot between the peeing and the plagiarism. We just don't think this is a good fit at this time." She's like, "Okay, cool." Um, and then she lays into her dad for a little bit and says, "Hey, I lost this off of weeks of work because of you." And then slams the door and heads up to her place. Now her plan is to just like her driver take my dad home, but then he gets out the car and they have a heart to heart that is heartbreaking to sort of hear because they're going back and forth, and Alex is like, "You treated me like crap as a 10-year-old. I never felt like you loved me. I felt like you would bring all your other college students in and make me feel so less than because you're like, oh, that's my stupid daughter." And I wasn't stupid. I wasn't uneducated. I was 10. I was a child. And every memory that you had of mom was pushed out of the house. Like all the pictures were gone, everything was removed. Like you made it seem like she was a distant memory and she didn't exist. And he says, "I lost my wife because of you. Like I lost the person who was my wife because of you. Um, when we were married, she wanted nothing more than to be a mom. Like that was her goal. She's like, I wanted. I was like, and I didn't really want that, but I wanted to give that gift to her. Like I wanted her to have that. And so we did it. She was pregnant. During pregnancy, she was the happiest she could possibly be. She was so in love. She was like, yes, this is going to be great. And then she gave birth to you, and everything switched. That light that was in her went off. She didn't even want to hold you. She wanted nothing to do with you. I would come home from times, and you would just be sitting there in your own feces and waste for days, for hours rather, and she'd just be staring at the wall, and all the dancing, all the love, all the things that she used to have was no longer there. And Alex is like, well, that mom, dad, she had post postpartum. He's like, I don't, whatever the word is, whatever the terminology is, the woman that I loved was no longer there. Your mom, the person I fell in love with, was no longer present. And then I came home one day and she was gone. She was just up and left, and it was just left me with this person that I didn't want and that looked just like her. And so it was just a gut wrenching sort of realization that he was angry at her for something that she couldn't even, for Alex, that Alex couldn't even do or do anything about. Like, yes, she's going to resemble her mom, and the postpartum is a piece, but he's like, yeah, I lost the person that I was supposed to ride or die with for the rest of life, and I got you. And then Alex is of the realization that there's nothing that she could do in life that would ever appease him or make him happy because he held so much resentment and anger for her. Like anything that she did, whether it be running UBN, whether it be on the morning show, anything that she's like good grades, anything that she thought she was doing to sort of like, hey, you'll be proud of me in this moment. He couldn't be. He wouldn't be just because he had that on his heart and had so much resentment towards her. And at that point, Alex is like, I don't know where your head is at, Dad. And like, I get why you were angry, but like, I didn't cause you or cost you your legacy. Dad, I am the manifestation of I am your legacy. I'm the manifestation of it. Until you kind of come to a realization of that, that's on you. Like I am the representation of your legacy. And he doesn't want to hear that in that moment. He dips. He just heads out and has sort of a hard pill to swallow as he leaves. But now both of them are a lot more aware of where their anger towards each other stems from. Back with Corey and his mom, Corey steps away for a moment because he's going to go get the wig that he brought from the set and sort of perform and show his mom because he's so proud of it, the film that he's making. And when he goes off, she takes the pills that she needs to transition and then allows him to do his show. And she's responding for a little bit. And he's so happy. He's like, yeah, and this and that, completely unaware that she has done uh, taking the medicine. And then she starts to fade in that. And you can see it's a rough, anybody who's lost a parent, especially if you lost a parent like in front of you, it is a rough scene to watch. And you can see Corey, bravo to Billy and the actress whose name I sadly I don't know. They killed this scene, lack of a better term. It's amazing. It's beautiful to watch, and you can come to the realization that he is angry. He's angry is like, Mom, you did this and you didn't tell me, or but you did. She told you, you just didn't want to hear it. And he's calling for his mom. He's calling for his mom, and he just sits there with her. He sits there with her, and he kind of falls asleep on her. And to the point where then he wakes back up and he remembers the note that she left, like corner 9. That note that he told her, she told him, "You need to be gone." And so then he gets in his car and he calls Celine on the way down, who is also having a breakdown because Celine texted Miles to say, "Hey, I'm ready to talk," and Miles responded back like, "I need more time." And so she's now in a way as well. So Corey calls Celine, is like, "Hey, do you want to go skiing?" Which is code for let's get jacked up on coke right now. And so he goes to her loft, or actually it's Miles' loft, and they get on a bender, coked out, coking up, drinking, having a good time. Nothing sexual between the two of them. It's just two really good friends, just kind of like unwinding because there's a lot that's happening in their life, and neither of them really come out. He's more aware of the Miles piece. He's kind of being a little bit more cagey about his mom, but he does go in a speech about how important parents are and how it's cool to have parents around because they're always sort of your North Star. He is releasing what he can to her without saying, "Hey, I just watched my mom die," because he doesn't want to get her in trouble and all that jazz. And the last piece of this, Alex has come to the realization that, like, especially with the Biden interview gone, um, she's feeling a little bad about the way that she responded to Bradley and saying, like, "Hey, Bradley, you might have been the right way to keep the story going. I'm going to sign your papers." She gets to Bradley's place, but Bradley's already gone. As we know, Bradley's going to do what Bradley wants to do. But Chip is there, and Chip tells Alex, like, "Hey, Bradley left to Belarus a while ago, and she was supposed to check in 3 hours ago, and it's been 6 hours, and she still has not checked in." And then I reached out to some contact, and it sounds like she may have been arrested. And we know what happens to reporters who are arrested in Belarus. And that is the end of the episode. A solid episode. I don't hate this episode, but because it's not a part of any of the main storylines, it's mainly like, let's focus on Corey, let's focus on Celine, and let's focus on Alex and their parental things. That's why it's called Parent Trap. It's almost a bottle episode without being a bottle episode, and that none of the stories sort of really continue on, except for Bradley does go to Belarus and is arrested. So I think the next couple episodes will continue and sort of finish off what we have for the season. But yeah, some great performances. While I don't think it moves the needle as moving the story along, solid performances. Acting is top notch. Jeremy Irons, bravo. Billy as Corey and his mom, bravo. Every guys are doing things on some high cylinders. And I think this is an episode where you're going to get a couple of people that they might clip those up and put them in for best supporting or best guest on a show. I'm curious to see. Bradley always finds a way out, but I am curious to see what happens when the friendship of Corey and Celine sort of gets tested when this does come out, and Celine has to throw. One of them has to throw the other under the bus in that moment. Like, one of them has to choose. Hey, I didn't know about the story. It put me in this position to do this. Celine's like, nope, he knew. One of them is going to bite the other, and this moment of them having that true friendship is going to be sad when we get to that point. The point where, between his mom gone now and Bradley not being a part of his life, Corey is going to end up on an island by himself, and that is going to be rough. What did you guys think about this episode called The Parent Trap? Go ahead and leave your thoughts and comments in the comments below. If you haven't already, you can follow us on X at HollywoodADI. You can hit us up on email at HollywoodAlreadyDidIt@gmail.com. We also have a podcast with the same name. That's on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, anywhere that plays podcasts. We're there. And like always, I got my ticket. You got yours.